let's start with the awaited return of His Excellency Pervaiz Musharraf to Pakistan. Lots of waiting for him, cases in the courts, hopes to participate in the upcoming elections. In your opinion, as a senior vice president in the party, how, and a lawyer as well, how do you see his political situations and judicial situations?
Well, the courts move on the judicial track. At the first instance, court, if there's a matter against you, the court issues you summons. If you don't turn up, court issues you a bailable warrant. And still, if you don't turn up, then court issues you non-bailable warrant. And still, if you stay away from the court, then the court issues against you a warrant wherein you are declared proclaimed offender. So these are the four stages, and then the matter is referred to the executive of the country to implement the orders of the court. Now, looking at the track record of the present government, there are over half a dozen orders given by the highest court of the country, Supreme Court of Pakistan, which are pending from last 2 years, and court is not moving at all. The government is not moving at all to implement those orders. Now, a government whose track record is that they are showing a stubborn attitude to implement the orders of the highest court of the country, what would you expect from them to implement the orders of a lower court? I'm sure since the courts do not have their own policing system or army, so they have to heavily lean on the executive, and executive track record is, which I have just now mentioned. So in that background, I don't think there will be anything will happen. And beside the political cases against politicians depends on the political environments. As the environment changes, the fate of the case also changes. And presently, present government is at the lowest ebb as far as their popularity in the country is concerned. They are fighting a battle of their own existence vis-a-vis court. So in this background, to expect from this weakling government that they would implement the orders of the court is something expecting too much, I think. So General Musharraf is coming with all the support of the people of Pakistan, and most probably he's landing in Karachi, and there will be a very rousing reception because in the past he has built up the image of the country. He gave Pakistan a very, very effective foreign policy, very progressive economic reforms, and built up a lot of dams and highways and motorways. A person with that kind of a track record, when you compare him with the present government where there's a dismal failure, economy is dwindling, there's no law and order, and people are committing suicide, with this kind of a comparison, people of Pakistan are now feeling that his government was a wonderful government. Those were the days when the condition was like heaven-like, and present government is like a hell.
Some of the the government members, Rahman Malik is the Interior Ministry, and also some cabinet members in the provincial of Sindh, as emphasized on the fact that as soon as Musharraf lands, he will be arrested. On what basis, on what constitutional and regular law basis that they have said these things? And do you think he will be arrested, or he will be, as you just mentioned, in the four categories of the court?
This is also all political gimmick. See, presently they are in a mess. See, there's a total confrontation between the Supreme Court of Pakistan and the executive authorities of this government. You are already in picture that tomorrow the Prime Minister of Pakistan will be appearing before the contempt of court to answer a notice which has been given to him for the contempt of court, and then other government personalities are also involved in many cases. So with this background, their image is at the lowest ebb. So they need this kind of a diversionary tactics where they can divert the attention of the people of Pakistan to some non-issues. General Musharraf coming and his cases is a non-issue. Issues in this country are how you are going to resolve the the shortage of gas, shortage of electricity, the railway has coming to a grinding halt. PIA, which was a very prestigious airline, is almost grounded. Economy is dwindling and in shambles. Law and order is at the lowest ebb. So with this kind, these are the issues which need to be resolved. Since they cannot resolve the issues which are facing the people of Pakistan, so therefore this is a diversionary tacticity. And this is a very settled principle of law that when you can't resolve people's problem directly, involve them in a non-issue so that their direction is in a different direct way, different direction, and their direction is not focused on the real issue which you can't solve. So nothing will happen. This is all a cock and bull story, and the whole idea is to adopt a diversity tactics.
I understand that maybe the general, he would come back and he would be enjoying the back of support of the military establishment as he's a retired general. And also there is changes in the political scenario in the country where there are possibilities of bringing the Chaudhrys back on the head of the state. As a prime minister, maybe there is very strong possibilities. Do you think these circumstances or this support will favor his return?
See, the position is that as far as the armed forces of Pakistan is concerned, there's a comradeship, there's a committee. It's one extended clan. Yes. Where elders are respected. As in a family, elders are respected, no matter the nephew or grandson might become a prime minister of the country, but grandfather will remain the grandfather. Right. And here is a clan of the armed forces who live together and die together, and that clan was once headed by General Musharraf. He was the chief of army staff, yes, and beside being a president. So since there is a clannish attitude of the armed forces, I don't think the civilian government would take any chance to annoy the rank and file of the army to lay their hands on their former army chief, who has led them with distinction, who brought laurels for the country, and who was a very successful commander.
The country is in chaos, economically, politically, socially. What do you have in your pocket for people of Pakistan to change the present situations? And is there any possibility for you to align with any other political parties present in this time?
Let me answer your second part of the question. As for your second part of the question is concerned, that how we are going to proceed in the coming elections, the position is that there are 3 or 4 parties in the country which are talking about change. Yes. And change is a very popular slogan among the youth of this country, exactly on the same pattern as it was a popular slogan with the youth of America when Obama was a presidential candidate. Now, if the 3 or 4 parties who have focused their program on the change in the country, change in the economy, change in the political structure, change in the foreign policy, etc., if they were to put up 3 or 4 candidates, then this consolidated support would be divided, because youth comprise almost 65 to 70% of Pakistan's population. And the advantage will again go to those parties who stand for maintenance of ugly status quo. So in order to defeat these parties who stand for maintenance of status quo, there ought to be some understanding so that the youth vote, which is, as I said, 65 to 70% of Pakistan population, in a consolidated form, is put to an alliance which stands for the change. So I will not reject, but on the contrary, I foresee that kind of a alliance being built up close to the election, either in 2012 or 2013, whenever the general election takes place.
There is another issues which is a thorny issues in if it's you let me describe it like this, the killing of Bukhti was one of the issues that is put against as a negative point against Pervaiz Musharraf and the Lal Mosque. How would you defend or how you justify the situations with these two cases before the people?
You see, as far as the Nawab Akbar Khan Bukhti's murder is concerned, a politician ceases to be a politician as soon as he holds the gun. Politician is very powerful as long as he, dialogue, as long as he open up a front with arguments. He's very powerful. If he would have stayed in Quetta, he would have been the most powerful politician of Balochistan. But since he opted to sit in a cave, and from there he targeted most important installations, national installations of this country, like Sui gas installation, and targeted with rockets and whatnot, he reduces himself to a militant. See, and for militant, if the state decide to implement this writ, it is within the power of the state to see that its writ is implemented and carried out. And any obstacle in the performance and in the implementation of that writ has to be cleared. So that was on a state order. If on that issue is to be re-agitated as a murder, because there was no mens rea, there was no criminal intention from anywhere. It was state order. It was state policy. If state policies are men who implement the state policy that they are brought before the court of law for murder, then from second lieutenant to General Kiani, cases will open up of killing in Swat and in South Waziristan, etc., etc. But that's not the intention of the state. In a state act, you see, it's not a crime, you see, because he reduced himself from a politician to a militant, and it was his fault. See. Now, as far as the Red Mosque is concerned, the government showed a lot of patience and tolerance. And once General Musharraf was addressing the NDC, National Defense College, which has now been upgraded as National Defense University, there a journalist and one journalist who was leading in the forefront was Mr. Hamid Mir, who conducts a very popular program, Capital Talk, from Islamabad, was the one who said, General Musharraf, how long will you tolerate these elements who are acting as a state within a state? They have stormed the beauty parlors of the Chinese. They have stormed the videos and video cassette shops. And how long will you tolerate? This is a national capital. Will you tolerate to the extent when they will capture Islamabad? So they were actually prompting General Musharraf to take action. And when General Musharraf, on their advice and prompting, took the action, they started opposing. Now, this is not fair. You see, once you take a stand, then you should be very, very firm on that stand. They had no business then to criticize when they prompted General Musharraf to take the stand. But General Musharraf still acted with tolerance and patience. And you see, the troops were standing outside the mosque. The mosque has turned into armory, you see, where all kind of the arms were stocked in the mosque, you see. And the students, they were hijacked by the militant. So government gave them sufficient time that they should walk out of the mosque premises. And as history tells us, almost everybody walked out, except that the about 100 militant remained inside who had hijacked the mosque. And you will agree with me that during Holy Prophet time also, Masjid-e-Zarar, which had become a symbol of, at that time, militant forces and conspiracy against Islam, Holy Prophet ordered that this mosque should be dismantled, you see. So therefore, following the traditions of the Holy Prophet, this mosque has become a armory, you see. It has reduced the status of that of mosque and become an armory of militant. So, above all, you see, still government was acting with restraint, but in the meantime, a military commander who was the commander of the SSG, Special Service Group, he was shot dead, and a couple of commanders were shot dead. And you know, there's a comradeship in the army, and once they see their comrades being killed in that fashion, they retaliated.
What Pakistan is passing through a difficult situations economically, politically, and socially. In your party, and especially the president, the ex-president Musharraf, what do you have in your pockets to offer the people of Pakistan and to promise them a bright future?
You see, the position is there's nothing wrong with Pakistan. Technically, there's nothing wrong. Pakistan is neither a failed state nor a rogue state. We have carried out our international obligation for the maintenance of the world peace, whether it was Haiti or Somalia or Chechnya, Bosnia, and where superpowers army failed, like the Americans, we maintain the world peace. So we are a state who is committed to the world peace, and we are. There's nothing wrong with our economy. We have our economic base in the agriculture economy. We have got 4 clear weathers. We are the 6th largest army in the world. We are a nuclear power. We have got a very fine bureaucracy, which is as smart and as clever as any international bureaucracy. We have only one problem, and that's the leadership. The day this country have got an honest, dedicated, committed, with the character of the leadership, as I said, there's nothing wrong. These all problems, gas, etc., are the problems which are self-made, which is a man-made problems. We have not applied our mind. We have involved ourselves. We have channelized our energy for corruption, for maladministration. And instead of resolving these problems, which we have the potential and the capacity to resolve, there's a lot of gas in the country. I mean, there's no dearth of gas. Only thing is that we should have gone on a war footing to find out more gas. But instead of looking for more gas, we have opted and adopted those projects where there was kickbacks, you see, where foreigners would come, and with foreigners we would make arrangement for kickbacks, corruption, and that money would have gone to the Swiss banks, as already a large number of Pakistani money is lying in Swiss bank, because that money which came for the development of this country, to build dams, to build electricity, etc., that went into the pockets of the corrupt politician of this country and landed up in Swiss bank. It is the real crisis of this country is not gas, not electricity, it's a leadership crisis. We are committed to provide an honest and dedicated leadership to this country. Once they are settled with power, there's no dearth of these economic potential in this country. Somebody has to harness them, somebody has to plan and once that kind of human material is available, Pakistan will rise.
Pervaiz Musharraf, 2 weeks back, approximately has given a statement in the Haaretz newspaper of Israel, calling for enhancing relations with Israel, maybe a recognition for it. This is not the first utter of Pervaiz Musharraf towards Israel, but as you know, there is a sentiment, a general sentiment in Pakistan against Israel because of the Palestinian issue. How do you see all these relations at once in your party?
You see, as far as his statement, which you have just now narrated, that's concerned, General Musharraf in an explanatory statement has made it very clear, abundantly clear, that what he stated was that we should adopt a middle line between friendship and animosity, middle line. No recognition, middle line. Because the countries in support of which we have taken such a hard stand against Israel that we don't accept them to this state, some of them have already accepted, you see, they have recognized Israel, you see. And we are not in that geographical area, and yet we have taken a firm stand on our the link with those countries, which link we have as a Muslim, you see, because Islam is one ummah, you see. So we took up a stand as a ummah, but certain countries belonging to that ummah have already recognized. And those countries, when it comes to Kashmir, take a lukewarm approach. I mean, they don't want to annoy India, you see. Yes. But whereas we have taken a very firm stand against Israel, and Israel is a very powerful inroad in American economy, American media, American politics. American politics cannot move without the wishes and the urges of the Israel. And because we have taken a firm stand against Israel, the Israeli lobby in America creates a problem for us. And as against Pakistan, they built up India, vis-a-vis their American relation with India is concerned. So there's the axis of India and Israel. To diffuse that axis, we should adopt what General Musharraf said, was to adopt a middle course. We should be neither friendly nor inimical towards them. We should adopt a middle line, and that's how we should balance our relationship. That is the statement which he has made later on to explain his critics. You see. Yeah. As far as Americans are concerned, we have had in the past hot and cold relationship with America, but we have got a very old relationship with the Americas. We have the era where we had a military pact with the United States of America in order to encircle Russia, like Baghdad Pact, like CENTO and CETO. We were a very active member. But, you know, when 65 war took place, the Americans became neutral. They left the state which was militarily committed to in a pact, and supported a country, not supported but became neutral, but it was an indirect support to India, which was committed with Russia. So their relationship is, you know, hot and cold. Even in Afghanistan crisis, they quietly left. Although because of our blood and the Afghan blood, Germany was unified and burned for it resulted in the fall of a wall of German. Eastern Europe was liberated. But what we got in return, the heroin culture and the Kalashnikov culture and terrorism were imported into Pakistan. A very peaceful country were destroyed because of the aftermath of the Afghan jihad. And
will you be able to bring peace to Afghanistan if you come to power?
See, the position is that Afghanistan is our very close neighbor. See, we have got the longest border with Afghanistan, which runs almost 2,300 kilometers. Yeah. And we have got a cultural and religious ties. You see, half of the Afghans tribes are on this side, and the same tribe is on the other side of Afghanistan. Yes. During the line. If we are Afridi on this side, they are Afridi on the other side. If we are Waziri on this side, they are Waziri on that side. So we have a very close affinity, historical relation with Afghanistan, and certainly it is in the interest of Pakistan and interest of the region that we would like to see a peaceful and a progressive and a stable Afghanistan, because nothing will develop here, nothing will grow here unless Afghanistan is burning. So in order to have a peaceful region so that things develop in a peaceful manner, the peace in Afghanistan is the requirement, and I'm of the view that the answer to the development of this region and the peace of this region lies in PIA, Pakistan, Iran, Afghanistan.
Now, the strategics in these regions now, they advise Pakistan to look towards the regional powers rather and abandon the unilateral dependency on one power, which is the US. Russia, China, Iran, and Turkey. President Musharraf, he was the first president to look up towards Russia. How do you agree with the strategy, regional strategy rather than unilateral strategy? And how do you see the future relations with these countries, especially Russia?
You see, in 1951 or 50s, we got invitation both from America and Russia. At that time, our founding father of this country, because the country was newly created in 1947, we opted to go to America and didn't avail the opportunity to develop a relationship with Russia. Personally, I'm of the view that we have a geographical contiguity and link with Russia. And we must have better and very friendly and cordial bilateral relation with Russia. And we should adopt a bilateral approach rather than multilateral approach. On the bilateral basis, we can simultaneously be a friend of America, a friend of Russia, friend of China, which we are, because the linchpin of our foreign policy is a very close and friendly relation with China. But I would equally promote a better relation with Russia, because we have got a geographical linkage, whereas America is a distant dream. You have to cross the whole of Europe and then Atlantic, and then you reach America, which is a faraway place. But here, a friend in need is a friend indeed, and people who are living in a closer vicinity, they can reach you in a matter of disturbed condition much earlier than friends at a distance.